It wasn't the greatest game, like there wasn't that much effort that was shown on the court.
Pay us what you owe us, pay us what you owe us, pay us what you owe us, and they're getting absolutely cooked online.
T-shirts. Whoever told them to do this was a bad move. The WNBA is getting rushed, obliterated.
The WNBA just hit DEFCON 1 on July 20th. Multiple All-Stars are now staring down suspensions after pulling off the most tone-deaf, jaw-dropping stunt this league has ever seen. Yes, they were rocking those infamous, pay us what you owe us shirts during a nationally televised All-Star game that, let's be real, nobody even wanted to watch in the first place.
It's an unwatchable All-Star game. It is really bad. There's not a drap or drip of defense in this game.
They come out in the All-Star game wearing pay us what you owe us t-shirts.
This isn't just a misstep, this might be the moment the league officially lit itself on fire. We're talking about an All-Star game that was already an unwatchable disaster, zero defense, no effort, just a glorified cardio session. And then, these players decide to throw gasoline on the flames with a protest that has absolutely exploded in their faces. The optics are so bad, even Clown World is posting about it, and when they're clowning you, you know you've messed up royally.
Felt like the players were so excited and happy to be there, they just didn't put that much effort on the court.
WNBA players whose salaries are subsidized by the NBA wear t-shirts declaring, pay us what you owe us.
If you want the full, unfiltered tea on how this self-sabotage just pushed the WNBA even closer to the brink, stick around. This is the drama the league doesn't want you to see. Okay, let's unpack this PR inferno. What was supposed to be a celebration of talent became a full-blown political sideshow. Right when the league desperately needed to focus on basketball and rising stars, it pulled off a stunt so loud, it drowned out everything else. We're talking about those infamous shirts, bold, black letters screaming, pay us what you owe us, across the front. It wasn't subtle. It wasn't clever. It was a direct, unapologetic shot fired straight at the league's owners, and probably even the NBA itself. And this wasn't just a few rogue players. Oh no. The entire All-Star lineup marched out wearing those shirts. And behind them, Brittany Sykes was proudly waving a sign that demanded, pay the players. This wasn't a spontaneous moment, this was a calculated, unified message designed for maximum headlines. And it worked, just not in the way they hoped.
What exactly are you owed? You know what I mean? What exactly are the WNBA players owed?
Barstool Sports picked it up. So did Breaking 9/11. Even Clown World, yes, Clown World, joined the chorus. When they're posting your protest as breaking news, you know the optics have officially turned against you. What exactly are you owed? That's the question everyone's asking. Because what was supposed to be a showcase for the league's talent became an absolute PR nightmare. One brutal comment summed it up perfectly, they want NBA checks with YMCA numbers. Ouch. But brutally accurate. Within hours, those shirts had completely overshadowed the actual game, if you can even dignify it by calling it a game.
Nafisa Collier's team was winning by over 20 points at halftime, and I was like, you know what, like, let's watch Glorilla.
WNBA players whose salaries are subsidized by the NBA wear t-shirts declaring, pay us what you owe us.
Let's be honest, this wasn't basketball. It was a 4-point contest with cardio. There was no defense, no intensity, just players casually chucking up 3s and 4s like it was a morning warm-up. Nafisa Collier dropped an insane 36 points in this glorified scrimmage. You'd think that would be the headline, right? Except nobody even noticed. That's how monumentally boring this game was. 30+ points in a glorified exhibition, and not a single camera cut her way. Even Skylar Diggins had a triple-double. Still nothing. Because nobody was watching. Even the diehard fans were either tuned out or absolutely raging in the live chat.
Because Caitlin Clark is the only player.
And what about Caitlin Clark? The biggest name in the sport, the one person the league is actually making money off of? She didn't even play. She was out with an injury. But that didn't stop the WNBA from shamelessly plastering her image all over promos leading up to the game. Total bait and switch.
Because as much as I'm disappointed in the effort that was shown on the court, and I do think that this was an opportunity, even with all the CBA negotiations and the shirts that they were wearing, to really prove like, hey, look at this product, look at the ratings that we can get.
Casual fans tuned in thinking they'd see Team Caitlin versus Team Kelsey. Instead, they got whatever this was, no CC, no competitiveness, just bad optics and a t-shirt protest. Here's the real kicker, the tea that's got the league on edge, this wasn't just some harmless locker room statement. This shirt stunt may actually get players suspended. According to multiple insiders, league execs and sponsors were completely blindsided.
These players are already getting paid 6 figures plus to only work 4 months out of the year. They're getting paid 6 figures plus to show up at practice for an hour and a half, 2 hours a day, go home and sit on the couch.
No approvals, no coordination, just a surprise protest that dumped gasoline on already tense CBA negotiations. The timing? It couldn't have been worse. These players are already pulling down 6 figures plus for only working 4 months out of the year. We're talking about showing up for an hour and a half of practice a day, then going home to chill. And let's not forget, these aren't underpaid workers in sweatshops. Most WNBA players already make 6 figures, and the league itself lost $50 million last year. Let that sink in. A business that's bleeding tens of millions annually is being told to pay up based on what? Vibes. This protest didn't unite fans. It didn't inspire support. It just confirmed what critics have been screaming for years: entitlement is absolutely killing the WNBA from the inside out. One viral comment summed up the public's fury.
Can we pay them to go away? This backfired from a PR standpoint royally.
So now, the league is left holding the bag. Sponsors are furious. Owners are fed up. And the fans? They've moved on from what was supposed to be the highlight of the season. All that's left is a mountain of backlash, a snoozefest game, and a message that backfired in the loudest, most spectacular way possible.
How does the math break down? Oh, God.
Let's get something straight. These players are not broke. Not even close. Most are clocking 6-figure checks for a 4-month season. That's a dream gig for most people with 9 to 5 jobs and 2 degrees. And guess what? Every single dime of that paycheck is subsidized by the NBA. That's right. Big Brother NBA has been keeping the lights on for over 2 decades now, while the league itself loses $40, $50 million every single year. So, when they walk out with those bold shirts saying, "Pay us what you owe us," people are rightly asking, for what exactly? For not selling out arenas? For losing money? For turning an all-star game into a glorified game of horse?
And I totally get the players feeling like, look, we don't want to go out there and risk our body and expend all of this energy. Obviously, we want to put on a good show and we want to do something that the fans enjoy, but we're kind of stretched a little thin here.
If we're talking about value and numbers, the players technically owe the fans, the owners, and the NBA money. That's how brutal the math looks. Contrast this year's train wreck with last year's All-Star game. The 2024 game had something going for it: Team USA versus the All-Star squad. There was actual defense, some full-court pressure, real competition. Caitlin Clark throwing dimes, Angel Reese finishing at the rim, fans getting hyped. It wasn't perfect, but it was basketball. This year? This year was a disaster in sneakers. It didn't feel like a game. It didn't feel like a protest. It felt like a bunch of coworkers who hate their job sabotaging the company team-building retreat because they're over it. It was tone-deaf. It was lazy. And it came off less like a message and more like a temper tantrum in front of the very fans they claim to want support from. And who's pushing this message the hardest? Angel Reese, Courtney Williams, all pushing the "pay us" message like it's a trending TikTok sound. But nobody's stopping to ask, what value have you added to the league lately? Because, let's be brutally honest, only one person in that building is generating real money. Only one person is moving merch, bumping ticket sales, and pulling millions of eyeballs into WNBA broadcasts. And her name isn't Angel. It's not Courtney. It's Caitlin Clark. The rookie who's done more for the league's visibility in 6 months than most of these veterans have in 6 years.
I think that there might have been an opportunity here if the players went out there, played hard, had a great product, got those ratings up, had the building electric for the entire 4 quarters. Like, there's an example there.
As one person online perfectly put it, only Caitlin Clark should be saying that. She's the league's ATM. That's not an exaggeration. That's economics. That's business. That's reality. Once the fans saw through all the noise, the gloves came off. The backlash was nuclear. We're talking thousands of comments, dozens of viral threads, and a social media beatdown so bad, it felt like a digital mugging. People weren't just critical, they were savage. Some highlights: cut their pay by 50% and see if they still talk. They should pay us to watch this stuff. And the one that really hit home: can we pay them to go away? This wasn't coverage, it was a public roasting. Some fans took it even further, saying the NBA should just cut the cord, stop the funding, defund the WNBA entirely. Why are profitable NBA teams investing millions into a league that refuses to show gratitude and instead throws a protest in the middle of a game they barely marketed? One viewer even said, "This isn't a league. It's a DEI tax write-off with a scoreboard." That might be extreme, but that's how people are feeling. My God, this is crazy. The WNBA has backed itself into a corner. This protest didn't inspire anything. It didn't build unity. It didn't create a movement. All it did was expose how far some players are from understanding the business they're in. And worst of all, it made fans ask a question that should never be asked during a championship weekend: why does this league still exist? Let's be honest, this wasn't just a PR failure. This felt like career suicide in real time. The WNBA is already hemorrhaging cash like a luxury cruise ship with a hole in it. Now throw in open rebellion at the All-Star game? Yeah, the front office didn't just raise an eyebrow, they lost sleep. Internally, league executives were stunned. Sponsors? Oh, they weren't just mad, they were reportedly furious because no one gave them a heads up about this "pay us what you owe us" stunt. And let's talk about Commissioner Kathy Engelbert for a second, because this story only gets weirder. She was literally seen partying with the same players who would go on to launch a stunt that could blow up the league. You can't make this up. By night, she's in the selfies. By morning, she's allegedly taking calls from furious team owners demanding answers. Rumors are already swirling that several players may face internal disciplinary action, maybe a fine, maybe a missed game, maybe more. But if that happens, this goes from PR disaster to open warfare. Here's the part that stings the most. There's only one player in this league who actually deserves to wear that shirt. And we all know who it is, Caitlin freaking Clark. As the internet famously said, only one player in this league deserves that shirt, and her name is Caitlin Clark. The girl didn't just bring ratings, she resurrected the league. We're talking Lazarus with a jump shot. Before she got here, the WNBA was about to quietly fade into the sports graveyard, buried between the XFL and Olympic curling reruns. Then, Caitlin showed up like ESPN had personally dispatched her to save the sport. And the numbers? They back it up. Ratings spiked. Ticket sales tripled. Merchandise flying off shelves. Caitlin became the WNBA's golden goose, while everyone else keeps acting like they laid the egg. These players are about to protest themselves right out of a job. And honestly, that might be the most WNBA thing ever. You had a chance. You had Caitlin Clark. You had eyeballs. But instead of building a league around the one player pulling you into the mainstream, you tried to make it about unity through division. What do you think is going to happen next with these players and the league? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more explosive WNBA updates.